Is that her? Woo-hoo. Look at my baby.
What?
Did they say what was wrong with it?
Let's take a look.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So let's catch up. I know I've been a little MIA. I've been editing, working on a couple projects that I've been trying to get done. What do we have here? We have a car accident. I promise you, one of the things, if you're not familiar with LA, you have to be ready for car. I'm from New York. I went to college in DC. I've just never seen a city with so many car accidents. I pray that everybody's good, safe, and secure. But when I literally say every time I'm on the road in LA, I see a car accident, it is ridiculous. I see airbags deployed. Hopefully everybody's all right. You know, hopefully everybody's good. Shit. Let's put some prayers up in the air for everybody. Oh, man. See. Yeah, as I was saying, I hope everybody's safe and secure. That sucks to see that. If you're driving in LA, you move to LA, just be careful and very mindful that every time you get on the road, it's not just your life, it's everybody else's life on the road. So I don't know how this conversation turned into that. Just be responsible. Yeah, catch you up. I haven't done a video in a minute. I've been editing, working on a project. I did a project a while ago. I had an editor do it. I'm editing myself now. Didn't have XML, so now I got to re-stitch the project back together from scratch. So it's taking a little longer. I finally got it back together. Now I got to go through the color correcting phase. This is what you do, you know, multi-hyphenate world we in now. So if you have the money, you have the funds to have a colorist, by all means, have a colorist. But if you got to do it on your own, you do learn a lot of valuable information and tools, and it helps you understand how to stream a workflow together a little bit more in depth. But yeah, that's something to keep in mind. But I just got the C500 Mark II back. It was in the shop. The HDMI connector was not working, and I'm like, yo, what's up? My camera's only, I had it less than a year. And here's the thing, some people might watch this video and be like, why are you not using SDI taps? Yes, SDI is a way more secure connection than HDMI. But on certain cameras, like the C200, SDI didn't output 4K, so that was problematic. So I've just been used to HDMI, and my two external recorders, which this video is pretty much going to be about. It's going to be about external recorders. I had a Adamas Ninja Flame, which was HDMI only, and I had the Adamas Ninja 5, which has the option for SDI, but I still was using, you know, HDMI because it just worked. You know what I mean? I never really had a problem. C500 Mark II, I haven't even been using it that much, and the HDMI has not stopped working. So for people that have cameras, just test out your connections, even if you're not using it, just so when you do start using it or you decide to sell it, you're not losing value because this person's like, yo, this is not working. You didn't know it was working. With Canon cameras and pretty much probably every major manufacturing brand, you got a year warranty. So if you got your camera within a year, you testing it out, you should be good. So just definitely check out your camera to make sure that it's working correctly. This glare is what? Just make sure you testing out to make sure the camera is working correctly, all the features, all the ports. So I had to put that in the shop. That's the reason why it benefits to have two cameras, because I didn't miss a step having a Canon C70. I was able to shoot content, work with a couple of clients, get some stuff done. But I did take my C500 for granted. You know, sometimes when you don't got something, you're just like, man, I kind of wanted to shoot with it this week. So it was a little bit of that. But I wanted to take this time to also talk about external recorders. Always, all my videos in future, I know sometimes I might go off on a little tangent, things happening, just like the car accident. Always know that you can check the timestamps down below and just fast forward to the part that's applicable to what, you know, information you might be able to extract to help you out immediately, by all means. But don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Think about subscribing to the channel, turn on notifications, be alerted for other videos that might be very, very important for some of the things you're trying to do. And let's get into it. So external recorders, my first external recorder, I still remember I had like a Marshall monitor. I was like, man, it's not that clear, but it was decent. You know, it was something I worked into. It was cheap, like $300. Then I moved up to the small HD DP1. It was my first HD monitor made by Small HD. I think it was Small HD first D monitor, and it was built like a tank. You know what I mean? So if you dropped it, you don't have to worry about it. But it wasn't true HD. You know what I mean? It was good for framing. It was good for, you know, pulling focus. You know, and I really didn't even know how to use focus at that point, so it wasn't that beneficial because I didn't even understand why people was using black and white, because it was easy when you was using peaking to be able to distinguish what was in focus and not. I didn't know. I just be on set as an actor like, yeah, I don't know why they use black and white. Maybe because they old DPs. No offense. Now I know it's just easier to kind of use contrast to separate, you know, peaking and stuff like that. But after Small HD, I think I bought the Small HD AEC7, which was great because it was now clearly HD. It was lighter, it was smaller, it was batteries that I was using for other devices, so I was excited. Small HD is still a great company. And then I finally moved into Adamus Ninja recorders for my Canon C100 Mark II, and I primarily got that because of the fact that with the Adamus Ninja recorder, if I want to get the best out of my C100 Mark II, I can get 422 10-bit to an external recorder. So I wound up finding myself going down the Adamus, you know, external recorders because it was a dual purpose. It was an HD monitor. It had a lot of nits. Nits affect how bright you can see the monitor in sunlight. So 1,000 nits is, for the most part, viewable in daylight. So if you're outside, you don't need a sun hood. Where when I had the Small HD, I needed a sun hood just to be able to see it outside. If it was like a glare, like some of the glares you've seen in this video, I wouldn't be able to see the screen. It was like, But Adamus Ninja Flame, I could see outside. And then it was a recorder, so it was like a backup. So if I had the SSD drive, which runs a lot faster, edits a lot faster when I'm recording in ProRes, it made my workflow more efficient. It was a backup, and then it had tools like force colors. And when I was using DSLRs that didn't have like peaking and force colors, it added that function. And just a quick rundown, I went from the Ninja Flame to the Ninja 5 because the Ninja 5 was a smaller recorder. Plus, it allowed me to do other features that the Ninja Flame couldn't do. So now we get to the Ninja 5 Plus, which was just announced and just released. This is a game changer for anybody with a Canon EOS R5, because if you asked me before this recorder, should I buy a Canon EOS R5? I'm like, not really. If you do a lot of photos, yeah, it's a great camera. One of the best hybrid cameras, 45 megapixel Canon camera features are phenomenal, but in terms of full hybrid, not really, because you can't use the 8K. And it's really the 8K and the 4K HQ which really makes this camera exceed in video functions, but you're limited to record time. So now that Adamus has just released the Adamus Ninja 5, just to give you a couple specs, it's allowing something like that EOS R5 to record 8K ProRes RAW. And because it's being recorded to an external recorder, it is dispersing the heat in a way that now you have way more longer record times, and you might not even have to deal with overheating. So that's going to be for the 8K ProRes RAW, and that's going to be for the 4K if you want to just shoot 4K HQ. And then you have other recording features, such as you can record in H.2.65, which works very well on the new latest MacBook M1 chips. Cut through that thing like butter. If you want to use H.2.64, you have that. And you have the ability of ProRes RAW, which is a codec that is above ProRes, which is more efficient than ProRes, and it reserves some of the qualities you have in terms of when you're shooting RAW, in terms of like the flexibility of color correcting 422, and some of these cameras are outputting a 16-bit signal, which is giving you a lot of color space to play around in post. So when you pull up the scopes, you can see all that detail, be able to separate too. So as of right now, I think anybody with a Canon EOS R5, that's something really to look into. And of course, like the Sony A7S3s and those cameras, which are allowing you to do ProRes RAW, the Sony FX9, which is allowing you to do 4K 120 frames per second ProRes RAW, that is taking your camera up to such a beneficial standpoint that it's insane. So that's the dope thing about having those options, those internal options, to really take advantage of a smaller file size, a codec that's going to run more efficiently than regular ProRes and have more flexibility, preserving the ability to color correct as if you was dealing with raw footage. Just to kind of sum it all up, external recorders, you need to find the one that's right for you. I highly recommend Small HD. I highly recommend Adamus Ninja Recorder. But then there's some of the other brands that are very affordable, what is it, Field World, Andy Cine. There's a ton of other monitors that's out there that are really great. But from my experience, I've always either used small HD when I didn't need the recording feature, and when I need the recording feature, which is for most of my cameras, I benefit from having that dual recording feature. I like the Adamus Ninja recorders just because of what they offer, the bang for the buck. I have all the force colors, the Pekins. I have the Ninja Flame has 2 battery slots, and Sony MP, which is a very common battery. And on the Ninja 5 there's only one, but you can also get an expansion unit. You can also do SDI. You can also run it in with a D-tap. So it's a lot of flexibilities with these recorders. And ultimately, if you're going to use a recorder like any other device, it should be making your workflow easier and helping overall your story. Don't just buy it to buy it. And my experience has been very, very helpful. And even from a marketing standpoint, I got to say, even when I had the C100 Mark II, when I would show up with a 7-inch monitor on top of that camera, the clients would really, really, really trip out. They would literally be like, "Wow, that's high end." It made them feel better about paying you money because they just kind of see where it's going. Even though, like, put it like this: a Red Komodo without no external monitor compared to a Canon C100 Mark II with an external monitor, for the most part, if the clients are not familiar with cameras, they're going to think the C100 Mark II with the Ninja Flame on the top of the camera is a more expensive setup. So just put that in perspective. When people are paying you the bigger bucks, having something like an external monitor actually gives a certain marketing presentation that can make them feel better about paying you, especially if you're a solo shooter like I was for the majority of my career, and you're not setting up a video village where your client can just walk over, look at the back of the 7-inch monitor, be like, "Wow, this is impressive." So just, yes, monitors can really help out in terms of selling what you do, selling your brand, selling your content. So if you got questions, comment down below. I think I've been talking a minute about this monitor stuff. Hopefully it was educational, informative for you. As always, I give this game so you can get game, because I got so much game from YouTube. So I am learning, giving, receiving, and trying to grow on this platform. So if you want to comment down below, you got a question, feel free to do that. Definitely shoot you my experience with recorders. Is it a necessary tool? Not really, but can it help out your workflow, help out your production, help out your overall bottom line? It can, especially if you buy the right one for you. And with that said, as always, stay creative, be courageous, and get on your grind.